The management said, we need someone to look after our staff here, our people who were under a lot of pressure. They were exhausted, they were stressed, there were adversities. And within this situation, I met this young woman.
Welcome back to Orbits Consulting. My name is Manal Zainuddin, Global Education Consultant and founder of Orbits Development Code, an approach for conscious learning and being. This podcast highlights education communities from macro and micro angles, leadership, learning, personal and professional growth across multiple disciplines. Education is holistic and as vast and infinite as the cosmos. As we bring stories, interviews, talks, projects from around this globe, I extend Plutarch's famous quote that I had posted in the schools I have worked in. The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. Last year, in one of the global conferences I was a speaker at, I met this person who immediately caught my attention of all others because she was also speaking about a topic I have always supported, which is the need to infuse intuition in our work. And intuition, as I always saw it, it is a unique type of intelligence at a higher scale. And education and all the other fields are mainly logic and reasoning, which we are not only employing in everything we do as professionals, but we are also imparting onto children. So I always thought that power is not only in our heads and in our body muscles, but in our hearts. So listening that day to her talk at the conference, I found myself contacting her right after her talk to express how important that talk was and how this related to what I do as well. Now today, this same speaker is joining us from Germany, Britta Simon. Britta is a personal resilience coach certified by the Institute of HeartMath, specializing in sustainable stress management, self-regulation, and sensitive trauma recovery, psychological counseling for individuals and teams. Britta, I'm so excited to have you with us today.
Good morning, Manal, and good morning to the audience. I'm equally excited as you are, and I am absolutely thrilled that we have not only had the opportunity to meet at the conference online, but maybe at some point also in person. But also I would like to thank you for your kind invitation to this podcast. And let's go for it. More than excited to speak about what's very much at my heart, and I'm very glad that it also touched your heart. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And actually, I would like to start our conversation today by quoting your words from your website. And I quote, "My life was accompanied by tragedy, sadness, trauma, and troubles early on, but I am still alive. I do not regret any step of this journey where all events were ultimately one thing, valuable. Valuable to learn, to recognize, to wake up, to be healthy, and to dare a new beginning. And valuable because in the process, I realized that I too am valuable. Every person or every human being is, by law of nature. Only our way of life sometimes leads us to the fallacy that we are not, and we think that we have to do something special for it." End quote. And I personally find this profound because I am sure it's not only you, Britta, who felt that way. Most of us did. And now I think, just like so many people around this world, this is a very strange period of time in history. And now more than ever, we need to look at things differently. So how do you view all that?
Yes, thank you, Manal. And absolutely, I behind my words, I do stand 100%. And I have met a lot of people along my journey that could probably feel the same, that we've been through difficult times, but it was at the end of the day, at some point we realized that it was a learning process, and we also realized that we are able to change. We have this capacity to change and to adapt to changes, and also to grow to changes and to heal. And I think we all agree there's a big headline on this horizon, especially in the past couple of years. The world is changing. Yeah, there have been massive developments, especially not only through COVID, also before the invention of the internet. Yeah, we have massive
Right.
changes. There's a huge trend. People of all ages have been welcoming and adapting new technologies and communication, lifestyle, traveling, creating, and problem solving. And now, since the global pandemic, we have a whole new trend because people have become more vulnerable and generally more thoughtful about their life, about their fate, about their future, and not only about their, also of the families and the global collective.
Yes, yes, so true. And I think there is thus now this new approach, like you've just said, to discover things in a different way, because we have already noticed that the old ways do not work anymore. So we have to shift the discussions, we have to explore new topics and feel comfortable to accept our vulnerabilities. That's very true. We have studied that the heart is a muscle, but recently we are learning that it has its own electromagnetic field, just like the brain. And in Oxford publication in 1944, they explain how the heart is an encoding and processing center that can learn just like the brain. And I think now researchers are exploring the heart from a totally different angle. So I think this is what you mean by heart intelligence, right?
Yes, absolutely. And this is part of also the new trend I have recognized and also truly welcome from the bottom of my heart, that more and more people, they are not only adapting to new challenges. What is new here and what is absolutely fascinating, people are doing this intuitively. They listen to their intuition. They listen to the subtle voice within them. And this has a lot to do with this heart intelligence, which has been on the rise and which has been in the focus of scientists and researchers, especially in the past 30 years, because we do have this inner intelligence and this inner intuition, and people now tend to turn inwards to look for answers, to look for solutions from themselves, and not only to rely what the outside world is presenting to them. And I could also give you an example. Last year, I had the pleasure to work with a team of care workers in a local care home. And local care homes, as the whole health sector, they've been under tremendous pressure the past 2 years. And this was also the reason why the management said, we need someone to look after our staff here, our people who were under a lot of pressure. They were exhausted, they were stressed, there were adversities. And within this situation, I met this young woman who came to me for stress management. And she was one of the first to come to me for these sessions. And she told me something very interesting. She said, you know what, I've been really desperate. Especially the past couple of months, I broke my ankle and I had to pause from work in all this stress. And then I came back and there was a lot of adversity and a lot of pressure going on within the team. And I felt really desperate. I felt exhausted. I felt hopeless, and I didn't know what to do. And at some point, I just surrendered and I told myself, please, universe, do something. Please send me someone, or do something that could help me and to get somehow out of this desperation and out of the stressful moments, and to give some kind of hope and a solution. And then she said, and after about 2 weeks, there you came. She told me, and that was very touching. And
Wow.
at first I would say, be careful what you wish for. But this is what seems maybe a coincidence, is a perfect example of interconnection of our human hearts, and also a perfect example of how intelligence works and our inner intuition and our inner intelligence. So sometimes when we just wish for something and we just send out a message into our environment, something comes back. And this has been, as I said before, in the focus of scientists and researchers, that the heart is not only a blood pump we all know it for, it's also a biophysical high precision device, which is, as I said, doesn't only pump our blood, it's our closest ally, our protector, our best advisor, and our source of intuition and intelligence. Sometimes we simply know, we have this intuition,
Yes.
and sometimes, and especially, as I said, sometimes when we just surrender ourselves to nature, to a higher force, this is then providing us with the answers. But we need to consciously make an effort to access this capacity within us. And this is when changes appear, and this is the big new trend, which I'm very excited about.
Yes, Britta, I cannot but echo what you have just said. That's absolutely enlightening in a way, because I've never believed in coincidences. I always thought that there is some kind of, let's say, hidden plan for us, which we cannot necessarily see, but it is there. And just like this amazing story of that woman who just got her wish manifested so quickly in just a matter of 2 weeks. Britta, we have witnessed mainly during COVID and now post-COVID economic crisis as well, existing wars, food shortages now, also heating concerns due to the wars occurring. And we know that in some countries, teachers are even resigning due to escalating fears and disappointments. And they have gone through traumatic experiences during these 2 years. So how can we operate from a place opposite to fear? And I will use here the term that you practitioners use, the heart-mind coherence. So what does that mean, heart-mind coherence?
Yes, the heart-mind or heart-brain coherence, as we call it, is something that we basically at the HeartMath Institute, this is our bread and butter, for example. And the reason why the HeartMath Institute has been founded in 1991 was exactly the reason that you, Manal, very clearly expressed now, because adversities, stress is on the rise. People they have sometimes problems to not to know, who am I still, but also how can I deal with all the adversities, with all the challenges that are going on in the world, worldwide. And this is where our heart comes in, and our own capacities comes in. And sometimes we have to relearn, and this is also what's going on now, what is now developing in worldwide, globally, in people, that we are relearning and recovering and reactivating our intrinsic capacities in order to remove ourselves from stress, in order to refill our batteries, and in order to handle the adversities and whatever life throws on us more resiliently and more calm, and without getting exhausted and without getting depleted in the long run. And as I said, this has a lot to do with the capacities of the heart. And not only in 1991, a Canadian scientist has found brain-like cells in the heart, these the so-called sensory neurites, which are commonly known as the little brain in the heart, or the heart brain. And the heart is also this electromagnetical device which, like a radio station, emits information in form of an electromagnetical charge. So the charge, in other words, is our emotions, our values, our beliefs, and also our thoughts, because brain and heart are very closely connected. And when we are overwhelmed by fear-based emotions like anxiety and insecurity, frustration, anger, this of course brings our heart in a state of incoherence, which is, well, we can call it a chaos. There's an inner chaos developing, and this this chaos is manifesting between heart and brain, and of course, consequently, with all the systems in our body, in all the elements of our body, the organs, the cells, the tissue, and everything. Yeah, but the heart-brain connection is essential, because it's some kind of the central regulator together with the autonomous nervous system. And as I said, when we live in a state of fear or fear-based emotion, we are exposed to this incoherent heart. And in the long run, of course, this is very detrimental to our energy processing in our system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when, for example, when we live under anxiety, insecurity, frustration, and anger, and hormones of stress are running all the time, this is literally draining our inner battery. And this is when we live in a state of incoherence. Yeah? And according to the HeartMath research, these negative emotions, they drain our energy. But on the other hand, positive emotions, they add energy to our system. Yeah, so we are actually on promoting to find simple solutions to bring people out of this chaos or incoherent state back into coherence. And this is quite, I wouldn't say difficult, but stress has become so normal. So this is one of the reasons why a big rethinking and reawakening and reactivation of the human intrinsic capacities is so important. And it is quite easy actually to live a coherent life, to bring back the heart-brain connection from this state of chaos into a state of coherence, and to live an inner balanced life that also manifests in the outside world. And if you like,
Yes.
we could also at this point maybe do a little exercise together.
Yes, what you just said is very powerful, because we, all of us, think that it's normal to be stressful, because stress has become a part of our lives. We feel drained, we feel depleted most of the time, and it has become the normal. But this is not the normal. We were not born to be tired and exhausted and stressful all the time, Britta. And yes, of course, because this will lead us to some techniques to reduce the stress and burnout. I'm sure also the listeners would love to be engaged in an exercise right now about how to find those right techniques and implement them regularly for a better state of well-being and coherence.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this is probably the perfect moment. And as you rightly said, Manal, we are not designed to be depleted, to be stressful. Yeah, it has become normal, and sometimes people don't know what to do about it. But we are rather designed, our whole body, to recover, to regenerate, to replenish ourselves. This is what we call self-regulation. And when we give our body the chance to train this capacity, to relearn this capacity, then we are on a much better position, and we can fully trust our body to replenish and to regulate itself, and to have some kind of a self-stress management. Yeah. And when I am doing the exercises, or when I'm coaching people, I'm not resolving the stress in people. I'd only show the way, or the best way, the fastest way to get from stress into replenishment, into inner healing, or from chaos to coherence. And I would love to do just a 3-minute exercise, which is more than enough. Yeah, it is very fast and very efficient. Or I would like to invite you to join me for a heart-focused breathing, which is one of our basic techniques to get from an incoherent to a coherent state, developed by the HeartMath Institute. And this is now a perfect moment. And it's very easy. What we do first here, Manal, is there are just 2 simple steps. So
yes,
if
and we are
everyone
ready.
Yes, you are ready. And just
yes.
You can do this in a sitting position somewhere comfortably. And I would just like to invite you to focus your attention at the center of your chest, where your heart area is, where your sternum is, at the area around your heart. Just focus there with all your senses. And you may also rest the tips of your finger or the palm of your hand at the sternum, which makes it easier to focus. Lovely. And now at step 2, I would like to invite you to take a deep breath and to continue breathing a little slower and deeper than usual through your nose, and to imagine that your breath is flowing in and out of your heart area. Just find a comfortable breathing pace, a little slower and deeper. Keep your attention at your heart area and imagine your breath is flowing in and out of your heart. Now there's nothing else to do, just enjoy this moment of calm, even breathing, a moment of peace of heart, of coherence and stillness. And I invite you to stay there for a few minutes and just breathe in and out. You may also close your eyes, and when the mind wanders, the thoughts wander. This is something very normal. Just return them gently to the center of your chest. Very good. And whenever you're ready, you may open your eyes.
I just did.
Excellent. Yes. Yeah. And this was a very, very simple exercise. And our heart is now in a state of coherence. And even though we don't realize a lot at first, there is a huge processes going on now in our body. Our heart and brain are in alignment. They are in coherence. And now we are literally stress-free because also the stress hormones are reduced, and we signalize our body that it's in a safe place, and only in a safe place it is able to replenish and to heal and to recover and to recharge the battery. And you can also say that our body is now working like a switch watch, reliable, intelligent, self-regulated. And you can practice this exercise literally every day, even on the go. And sometimes I even do it at the supermarket checkout. No one would know that I'm practicing stress management, and this is very easy. Yeah, this is really stress management on the go. And the body immediately responds to this exercise. We just lower the pace of our breathing so we can really use our intrinsic capacity, starting with knowledge about coherence, heart-brain coherence, and with knowledge about that we can, for instance, use our breath and our emotions as tools, as very intelligent tools, to be aware of it, to become aware of it, and to use them for our advantage, for our health, and also for the health of our family, our children, our collective.
Yes,
and thank you for joining me.
That was fantastic, Britta, because I know we in the field of education, although it's supposed to be education and learning, it's most of the time like a marathon, whether it's with the teachers, the leaders, or even the
Yes.
children who are supposed to be there to learn and enjoy, to go through the process of learning. But when there are certain requirements, you have to meet certain standards, you have to always coordinate with your Ministry of Education and so on, etc. With all of those requirements, all the stakeholders are always in this state of stress. So what you are showing right now is so important. And this is what I also call for, is giving ourselves some time, even at work, in our school communities, to relax and take these moments, these very short moments, do these little exercises. And I think this leads to the next question. So as a leadership and resilience coach yourself, as a professional yourself, how do you think leaders can foster resilience in their school community?
Yes, absolutely. And as you are mentioning schools, and this is so important that we are aware of the things from an early age. And this is where leaders, team leaders, and in this case, especially the educators and teachers are aware of these things, that they do learn the things about the body, about stress management, resilience building themselves, and also pass it on to the children. Yeah, children, as we all know, they are very intuitive and compassionate. And we
Absolutely,
all
yes.
have been this. Yeah, this is a gift of nature. And sometimes when the adults become overwhelmed and stressed by anxiety and insecurities, and naturally we pass this on to the children. Yeah,
So
and
true.
yes, and the children, they depend on our guidance. They appreciate our guidance, even though they are very powerful, but they see parents and teachers as their guides and this is very important, as a source of safety and security. And it is very difficult to transport the sense of safety to children when we feel unsafe and insecure ourselves, when we feel stressed and depleted. And this means when we live a fear-based life, or in other words, an incoherent life. So this is something that we need to be aware of. And I always encourage parents and teachers and team leaders to implement the concepts of heart coherence in their daily communication and interaction. And as we said, it is so easy, and it only takes a couple of minutes, which can be done at any moment in time, before breakfast, after breakfast, before activities. And this only takes 5 minutes, not longer than 5 minutes, to practice heart focused breathing. And in fact, the HeartMath Institute has developed age-specific modifications of this heart coherence technique. For example, the heart focused breathing for children of all ages. And more these techniques are being implemented in schools and in kindergartens and nursery schools all over the world, because they have not only contributed to a calmer atmosphere in the classroom, they also decreased cases of bullying, of hate between pupils, and increase results in performance tests and exams. And children are naturally calmer, and they also learn about their intrinsic powers, about the power of their heart, when they stay connected naturally with their heart. And if I may add something to this,
Yes,
which is
please.
also very important. On the other hand, okay, children, they always, as I said, need our guidance and need to feel the security and the support from the adults. But I would also very heartily welcome an increasing development in which adults meet children more on an eye-to-eye level. Yeah, knowing how intelligent, intuitive children are, we have all reason to actively include them in our daily decision making, in the decision making processes, and consciously ask for their opinion and advice. And I'm positive that this will create massive win-win situations in family as well as in schools, and children will grow up much more self-confident, much more responsible, and have a sense of equality and sense of not only personal coherence, and also a social coherence and a social equilibrium. And there is a massive potential what heart intelligence and heart coherence can do for the communication and the interaction between humans of all ages.
Yes, Britta, what you have just said is amazing because, like I said, it echoes what I also believe in and what I think we can do, and our role and responsibility dictates, which is to give attention to this area in our learning communities because it is as important as academics. And what you also mentioned is also powerful because I think this will also facilitate the DEI or the diversity, equity, and inclusion, which schools are working on right now. So
Absolutely.
with this little technique, which is backed up by science, with the tools right now available in our hands, I think schools should really focus on finding those moments, finding those short periods of time during our long days, because it's not only academics and scores and standardized testing. That's a very powerful message, which I wanted you as a practitioner to talk about it, and you just did very well. And I think this also extends to yourself as a resilience and leadership coach. Also, you mentioned already parents. You just answered this question, which I wanted also to ask, how they can foster resilience at home with their children, because we all know that children are born with this intuition, like you just said, but as they grow,
Absolutely.
society starts programming them, and because we are already programmed, we fail to see that. This is an area
Yes,
which we fail to see.
absolutely.
So now when we are educating the schools about this certain area, we are also educating the parents. Imagine this double impact that it will
Oh,
make.
yes, absolutely. Huge impact. And this is a trend which is very much on the rise. And this is what I really welcome. All these programs we have at the HeartMath Institute, they are more and more implemented in school because teachers, they are waking up to this, because teachers, they are under very heavy pressure at home from within their work and also with the children, and there has to be some kind of a calmness to be kept within people, so to have a calm interaction and to be able to function in a classroom and to create an atmosphere where children can efficiently learn and grow and develop. Yeah, and this is where all these new discoveries and also the techniques and the tools we can use, which are already there, where they come in. But what amazes me the most in all of this process is not only the research and the new trends and the tools we have, the intrinsic tools, the natural tools we are born with. It is at the end of the day, what makes all the difference is the human existence as such. Yeah, it is
Yes.
the amazing unlimited potential and the power we carry inside of us, and which is accessible for any one of us, regardless of age, regardless of descent, of background, and what we have been through in life. Everything can, at any moment in time, be reactivated. And we can also, and that's a good thing, we can also, with a little bit of exercise, sustain these abilities to replenish and to heal ourselves and to create a better environment within ourselves, better emotions and feelings within ourselves, and then naturally create a more coherent, a more peaceful and social environment in the human interaction. And I have much faith in this unlimited human resources, natural resources, and there is no reason whatsoever to be fearful and to live a life of stress and insecurity. Yeah, we just need to wake up to these amazing powers.
Yes, and I would also like to add, if you don't mind, that focusing on this area in our lives does not mean any type or form of weakness. On the
Yes,
other side, it is this strength in us because sometimes it might be misinterpreted. When a child cries, sometimes we say to him, "You are crying, only babies cry." But we know
yes,
that crying is this way to express your emotions. So what's
absolutely.
the point
Yes,
of encouraging them, although unintentionally, to hide these emotions? And as they grow up, these emotions, these negative emotions will eventually show in their life, and it will not have
most
any type
certainly.
of a positive consequence.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And everything has a reason. Crying has a reason. Yawning has a reason. Yeah. So there is nothing in nature that doesn't have a deeper meaning, and deeper meaning, especially also for us to use and to realize and recognize what it's there for. Yeah. All the
Yes.
human
Yes.
intrinsic tools, the intuition, intelligent systems, and everything. Yes.
Yes. Britta, we have had such an amazing conversation, and I'm very happy that you have shared and I am sharing as well. And there is a wide array of researches about heart intelligence. And with the analysis of heart rate variability or the HRVs, these aspects that we once thought invisible and immeasurable can be noticed and even measured. And this is a very important point to mention because this can be measured. It's now being backed up by science. So much about physiological, psychological variables, about interconnectivity, experiential studies of states like joy and compassion, which we never thought we can ever measure, and much more. Now, this theme can be extended for hours, and I personally love to delve deep into it because it's also part of my approach for conscious learning and being. The eye in orbit starts for integrate your mind and positive energy in motion in everything that you do. And I always target learning communities, but unfortunately, we have to end our conversation for now. So, Britta, I am so happy that you have joined us, and I call all educators and parents to start exploring heart intelligence. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for this, and let's call it heartful talk.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And I thank you for giving this opportunity and to bring this onto the table because, when you wake up to the power of your heart and especially the heart-brain connection, this is something so amazing, so powerful. And I can't thank you enough that you are on the same road and you implement it also in your life and in the life of your children and also in your collective and so forth. And should we, as we are also on a common quest to make all these facilities accessible to a broader audience, I would like to share to the audience or anyone else this two little gifts from me from the HeartMath Institute, if you
Yes,
like.
please.
Yes, yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
that would be great.
maybe you can also include them as a link. They are accessible, of course, online. You may include a link or maybe send out a link. And number one is a link to the HeartMath experience, which is an absolutely magnificent and wonderful course available in many languages. English, of course, Russian, German, Arabic, Turkish, even Greek. This is a beautiful course, maybe an hour and a half, separated into 9 or 10 lessons, easy to follow videos with a lot of information with these exercises. And not only the exercise we did here, the heart focus breathing, also very powerful exercises for accessing intuition and so forth. So this is a HeartMath experience. This is a free course. You just need to register. Absolutely free to see, to watch. And this is what I would like to offer to the audience, whoever likes. And also, I have a little gift for the little children, which is always,
Yes.
very close to my heart, that children, they grow up confident, secure, and loving and compassionate. And I created, when we had the first outbreak, the first lockdowns in 2020 due to COVID, I created a little ebook for children, which can be read together with children by parents, by educators, by teachers, by kindergarten teachers. And that's the ebook Sending Love with Heart, which also includes a very simple little exercise and which brings children back to security, to understanding why things happen and that they are not alone and that they are very powerful. So this is something I would also like to offer, a free ebook. You may follow this link and read it together with your children. This particular ebook is suitable for children between 3 and even 8 years old, if you like. But anyone can read it and enjoy it.
Oh, Bretta, I wholeheartedly thank you for this generous gift, and I will definitely share it as a link in the description because I think this can be the perfect tool to start with, whether it's with parents or in schools. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for this nice gesture, sharing this on our podcast.
Thank you.
And as usual, we come to the open-ended question, and this is a guest episode, so I leave this question to our guest, Britta Simon, a personal resilience coach coach certified by the Institute of HeartMath, specializing in stress management, self-regulation, and sensitive trauma recovery, psychological counseling for individuals and teams. To you, Britta.
Yes, thank you, Manna. So my question to the audience is actually something to ponder about and to think about, because considering the fact that we all have been overwhelmed by anxiety and by insecurity and stress as a result, and bearing in mind that life is about all these emotions, the negative ones and the positive ones, I would like to ask the audience, how would you feel if you knew that you have an amazing power within you that enables you to overcome any challenge and that makes you feel almost invincible? How would that make you feel to know of such intrinsic power?